The holidays are here and everyone is thinking about holiday ideas. It can be so much of a headache coming up with the best ideas that suits your family, sometimes resulting in no holiday at all. But just because I'm a nice guy who enjoys helping people solve their numerous problems, I decided to make this video to share some ideas that could help you and your family have a wonderful vacation this holiday season. If you are new to this channel, my name is Suleiman Anero, and in this video I'm going to provide multiple family holiday options based on my experiences and give you an indication of what the likely budget to execute each trip could be. Now, this is a good time to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss similar videos like this from this channel. But for now, let's dive right in. Number one on my recommendation list is a road trip. This may also be the cheapest of all the options I have to provide to you in this video. Depending on where you live in the world, jumping right into your car with your family and driving all the way to another city or several cities may just be the best fun you can have to share together. A road trip can be for one day or even several days, provided your car is in a good condition and you are not afraid to drive long distances. I have always had solo trips, but I recently started having road trips with my family. We had one from Canada to the US and another one within cities in Florida with a rented car. The most recent and memorable road trip we had was across several cities in Ontario, Canada for 4 good days, and we had so much fun. We stopped at some major cities to visit some of our friends that live there, and in some cases we spent the night either at our friends or a cheap hotel. For the road trip, we had some food, snacks and drinks, and we ate at our various stops. The total cost for this particular trip across several Canadian cities was less than 300 Canadian dollars, which comprised of around 100 Canadian dollars on hotel expenses and less than 200 Canadian dollars was spent on gasoline for the car on the entire drive. This is something I highly recommend, and you can check my channel for a detailed video of my road trip experience, or maybe you can just click the link somewhere above here or above here to watch it. The second recommendation I have right now is another very cheap option, and this is a camping or a hiking trip. This is not particularly easy to pull off if your kids are still very young or if you are not an athletic person, but I must tell you it's an experience that is so interesting, refreshing and revitalizing because you are going to be in tune with nature. From my personal experience, I once went on a hiking trip somewhere in the UK at the highest point, and it is an experience I cannot forget in a hurry. Even though I'm recommending a camping or a hiking trip, you don't necessarily have to do something that grand or elaborate. A personal experience I can reference here is a trip I once had from Calgary to Banff in Canada, and this happened a few years ago as well. The views and the environment is something that just makes you feel so at home and so at ease. And during that visit, I met a lot of families who had their camping tents and they were all camping and bonding together as a family. Now, some people may not also have cabins in the woods, you may not have the extra box to have that cabin in the wood where you can just decide to move with your family to go camp. But overall, if you ever decide that it is feasible for you to go on a camping trip or a hiking trip with your family, I would strongly recommend, because it is not something that requires you to spend so much money, but it heavily depends on where in the world you live as well as your physical capabilities. The very next recommendation I have for you, which happens to be one of my personal favorites, is going on a cruise ship and cruising around the oceans of the world. This is not a particularly very cheap option, but it is one that comes highly recommended. Now, going on a cruise ship requires you to plan well ahead, but trust me, it is absolutely worth it. I recently had my own very first experience with my family on board Royal Caribbean's Liberty of the Seas, sailing from Fort Lauderdale in Florida to the Bahamas in the Caribbean for 4 days. amazing trip. We had so much fun exploring the ship and doing so many things together as a family. I tried to get a good deal by booking well ahead, and this saw me paying around 1,200 Canadian dollars for the cruise, excluding the flights from Canada into the US. I have a detailed video of the cruise experience in this channel, and I recommend that you watch it when you finish watching this video. But please, if you can, plan a cruise ship vacation with your family. I highly recommend. For the next recommendation, I would go with making a trip to another country. This is also not a very cheap option, particularly if you have to visit a different continent from the one you originally reside. But be that as it may, it is always a splendid experience to travel to a new country. Apart from the opportunity you will have to bond together as a family, it comes with a lot of learnings, both for the kids and for adults. Like they say, traveling is part of education. When you visit another country, some of the things you can do together as a family include visiting museums, going to zoos, galleries, safaris, nature parks, and a whole lot of endless options. I've had the opportunity to travel with my family to a few countries outside the countries we reside. I've visited Mexico with my family, I've been to the US with my family, Canada and Nigeria, and every single one of these trips have been absolutely worth it. For instance, on our trip to Mexico, we explored Cancun, Chichen Itza, and a whole lot of places with historical significance. In the US, for instance, we were at the Wynwood Walls, we visited the Fairchild Gardens in Miami, and many other places. Now, the budget for a foreign trip usually varies, and it depends on several factors that you will need to factor in. This includes the costs for your flights, the cost for accommodation, maybe a rental car, the cost of feeding, the cost of visiting tourist attractions, and many more miscellaneous expenses, which could see your family spending anywhere within 2,000 to 10,000 US dollars. My closing comments on embarking on a foreign trip is planning, and lots of planning. Personally, I plan every single trip by myself because I'm always on a very tight budget. But if you have a bigger pocket, you can get a travel agent to plan everything for you and you don't have to worry about a thing. Now, tell me, what foreign countries have you visited that you really enjoyed, and what foreign countries would you recommend other people to visit? Let us know in the comments and keep the conversation going. For the next recommendation, which is obviously the last one, I'll be going for something that may not be applicable to everyone, but it will definitely be applicable to most people of African and Asian origins. Do you want to guess what that is? Well, let me not stress you so much because I'm a nice guy. This particular item is going to your village. Yes, you heard me right. I know that some people may not understand this, so let me explain. The village is like everyone's hometown, your ancestral home, where your parents or your grandparents or your parents' parents and their parents were originally born, where your roots are from. In Nigeria and other parts of Africa, this is usually a remote rural region where some modern amenities are yet to be fully available. If one is able, I strongly recommend a trip to the village with the kids. They get to understand their roots better and get exposed directly to the local culture. They will have the opportunity to visit the farms with their grandparents, their uncles, or other family members. They can even experience fishing the local way and many more ways of doing things that are very much in tune with nature. I'm yet to do this particular one with my kids because they are still young, but it's one thing I plan to do, and I am strongly recommending it as well for everyone to try if they can. Let's hear from you. Is going to the village an option you will consider for a family holiday? Again, share your thoughts in the comments. Let's learn from you. We have now come to the conclusion of this video, and I truly had fun sharing my thoughts with you on how I believe you can make your holiday memorable. This list is not in any way exhaustive, but it's a good starting point to trigger the ideas you probably didn't know you already had. Do remember that the intention of this video was to share some family holiday ideas with you, and I hope this now motivates you to plan a family vacation and spend quality time with your loved ones. I appreciate you all for the support, and I am encouraged to make more videos because you watch them. Please keep supporting by subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and leaving a comment of what you liked and the other things you would like me to bring your way on this channel. Till I see you in the very next video, as I always say, it's peace and lots of love. Catch ya. Bye for now.